Hey everyone, and welcome back. If you're a Class 4 learner looking for a refresher, you are in the exact right place. Today we're putting together the ultimate survival guide for living things on Earth. I mean, if you've ever wondered how animals and plants manage to stay alive in some of the wildest, most extreme environments our planet has to offer, you're going to love this explainer. We're going to review some absolutely amazing science facts and look at the brilliant, and honestly sometimes kind of bizarre, ways organisms win at the game of life.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Have you ever actually thought about how a polar bear can just happily snooze on a bed of freezing ice, while a cactus thrives in a blistering, bone-dry desert? It honestly seems like magic, right? But it's actually science. These are extreme survival tricks, and by the end of this explainer, you'll know exactly how nature pulls them off.
So, here is our survival map for today. 1. Animal habitats and survival. 2. Animal diets and skeletons. 3. Amazing plant adaptations. And 4. Inside the plant factory.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Animal Habitats and Survival.
So, before we look at the animals themselves, we really have to define where they live. A habitat is simply a specific place where animal or plant can find food, water, and shelter safely so they can survive and live comfortably. And here's the thing, if an environment changes and a species can't adapt to it, they are in serious danger. Adaptation is literally the key to survival. Let's compare two totally opposite habitats, like the scorching desert and the freezing polar regions. Take the camel, for instance. It has these huge padded feet that stop it from sinking into the sand, thick lips to eat thorny plants, and it actually stores fat in its hump so it can survive for months without food or water. Now, look at the polar bear. To survive the freezing cold, it's rocking a thick layer of blubber to trap heat and heavily furred snow-padded feet so it can walk on the ice without slipping. Same planet, completely different survival suits.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how we categorize animals by exactly where they spend their time. Amphibians, like the frog, well, they live double lives. They hang out in wetlands and have webbed feet that act as built-in paddles, plus this incredibly moist skin that actually lets them breathe underwater. Then we've got arboreal animals, like the monkey, who totally rule the trees with super strong climbing arms. And of course, aquatic animals like fish, which are perfectly designed for the ocean, using gills to literally breathe oxygen right out of the water.
But you know, survival isn't just about where you live. It's about what you do and what you wear. Think of these as nature's superpowers. Some animals, like bears and frogs, use hibernation, a super long winter sleep, to survive when the temperature drops. Others use migration, just traveling thousands of miles to find better, warmer weather. Then there's camouflage, which is basically nature's invisibility cloak, letting animals like chameleons blend perfectly into the background. And hey, if hiding doesn't work, you use built-in armor? Think of the defensive spikes on a porcupine or the hard shell of a turtle. Moving right along to Section 2, Animal Diets and Skeletons. Just like you and I have our favorite foods, animals do too, and their teeth are all the proof you need. Herbivores are your plant eaters, like deer or cows. They have these sharp front incisors to easily bite off leaves, and big, flat molars in the back to powerfully grind up tough plant stems. On the flip side, we have carnivores, the meat eaters. They don't need flat grinding teeth at all. Instead, they have long, incredibly sharp canine teeth designed specifically for tearing the flesh of their prey. So really, your diet completely dictates your dental equipment.
Now, some animals, like humans and bears, are omnivores, meaning we're happy eating both plants and meat. But nature also relies on some highly specific and, well, slightly gross survival diets. Scavengers, like vultures and jackals, eat dead, leftover animals. I know, yuck, right? But they are actually nature's ultimate cleanup crew, keeping the earth free of disease. Then you have parasites, like mosquitoes or lice. They survive by living on or inside a host body and using special suckers to drink their blood. Gross? Maybe a little. But you have to admit, it's an incredibly effective survival strategy.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the animal kingdom is kind of split right down the middle based on how their bodies are held together. Vertebrates are animals with a backbone or spinal cord hidden inside their bodies, like you, me, birds, and fish. Invertebrates, on the other hand, do not have a backbone. Instead, a lot of them wear their hard skeleton on the outside of their bodies, kind of like a knight wearing a suit of armor. This is called an exoskeleton, and you'll see it on insects, crabs, and spiders.
All right, Section 3, Amazing Plant Adaptations.
Think about it. Plants are literally stuck in one place. They can't just run inside when it snows. So they adapt their very shape to survive, and it is truly amazing. Up in the freezing mountains, we have conifers, like pine trees. You know that classic cone shape they have? That actually allows heavy snow to slide right off so their branches don't snap. Plus, their leaves are tough, waxy needles that lock moisture inside. Now zoom way down to the scorching desert. The cactus doesn't even have normal leaves, because leaves lose too much water. Instead, its leaves adapted into sharp spines to protect its stored water, while its thick, fleshy stem holds onto water just like a giant sponge.
But what if you're a plant that lives entirely in water or thick, squishy mud? In marshy, salty shorelines, mangrove trees pull off a genius survival hack. Their roots actually grow upwards, poking right out of the mud to breathe air. These are called pneumatophores. Then you have fixed aquatic plants like the lotus. It has stomata, which are tiny breathing holes only on the very top of its leaves so they don't drown, and hollow stems to keep the flower floating. Finally, fully underwater plants like hydrilla don't have stomata at all. They just breathe dissolved gases directly through their whole body surface.
Okay, this next one might actually be my absolute favorite plant adaptation. What happens if a plant lives in a swamp where the soil is terrible and has zero nutrients? Well, it becomes a hunter. I'm talking about insectivorous plants. Because they can't get food from the dirt, plants like the Venus flytrap have leaves that act like actual jaw traps. When a bug lands on them, they snap shut, release special juices, and actually digest the insect for nutrients. The pitcher plant does this too, but it traps bugs in a slippery, liquid-filled tube. It is totally bizarre and absolutely awesome.
Which brings us to Section 4, Inside the Plant Factory. So, the crucial point here is that this amazing food-producing factory needs a strong foundation to absorb water and minerals from the soil. This is the root system, and there are two main designs. Taproots are large, thick, central anchors that reach deep, deep down into the earth. Fun fact for you, when you eat a carrot or a radish, you are actually eating a delicious taproot. Fibrous roots, on the other hand, look kind of like a tangled mop. They're made of many small, thin roots spreading out just beneath the surface, exactly like the roots you see when you pull up a handful of grass.
Moving above ground, we have the stem. The stem is basically a busy highway carrying all that water from the roots straight up to the leaves. We classify plants by how strong this highway is. Trees have a massive, hard, woody highway called the trunk. Shrubs are medium-sized, woody, and bushy. Herbs are small with soft green stems. Then, of course, you have the rule breakers. Creepers, like watermelons, have weak stems that just crawl along the ground, while climbers, like grapevines, actually have to grab onto walls or other trees to pull themselves up toward the sun. Now, if the stem is the highway, the leaf is the actual machine inside the food factory, and it's perfectly engineered. The blade is the broad, flat solar panel capturing the sun's energy. Right down the middle is the midrib, the main vein delivering water. Underneath are the stomata, those tiny breathing pores we mentioned earlier, letting gases in and out. And finally, the petiole is the little stalk that plugs the leaf machine directly into the stem highway.
But wait, there is a secret ingredient. None of this incredible machinery works without chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the special green pigment inside the leaf that acts like a solar battery. It absorbs the energy from sunlight. And without this crucial green pigment, the entire plant factory completely shuts down.
Put all those parts together, and you get the magical recipe for life on Earth, photosynthesis. Let's walk through the steps really quick. Step 1, the roots absorb water. Step 2, chlorophyll captures the sunlight. Step 3, the stomata breathe in carbon dioxide from the air. And step 4, the factory mixes all of these together and produces glucose, which is plant food, and breathes out fresh oxygen for us to breathe. If the plant makes extra food, it just stores it as starch. It also packs some of that energy into seeds, which act as tiny survival packages to grow brand new plants.
Let's move to the next point and see how this builds. Because with all that hard work happening, the plant factory gets pretty hot, right? Transpiration is the process where plants release excess water out through their stomata as a vapor. It's essentially plant sweating, and it's nature's very own built-in air conditioning system to keep the plant cool and healthy.
And just like that, you have completed your survival map. From the thick blubber on a polar bear to the snapping jaws of a Venus flytrap and the microscopic green food factories inside every single leaf, nature is incredibly smart. So, I have a challenge for you. Take a look outside your window right now. Become a backyard scientist. Look at a tree, a bird, or even just a bug on the sidewalk. What adaptations can you spot? How is that organism winning at life today? Keep observing, keep asking questions, and I will see you on the next explainer.